Step 5, the talent inventory, is the payoff of the Talent Accelerator process. When that job opens and you can take somebody from the talent inventory and fill it in an instant, that's an amazing thing. I remember the very first time I did that, and I think about all the different times I've done that personally, and I think of all the people who have done that, and there's always this little smile that they get on their face, because it's just, that heavy feeling of having to fill a job and it's going to be empty. None of that happens. The job's filled. Now, we can make this even more powerful. In fact, we're going to talk about how to take this step and the next one, keeping the tap flowing, even more powerful by looking at them together. Now, yes, it's an entire continuous process, but as I've talked about in the other 2 videos that precede this one, we can look at them a couple at a time and talk about creative ways to use them. And that's what this one's about. So let me tell you one of my favorites that we've been doing a lot this year in particular, and that is we're getting leaders to build talent inventories for their own jobs. Now, some of you who heard that may have just fallen out of your chair or just felt a little catch in your throat or something, because that probably feels like a threat, and it has to some leaders. In the book, in the closing of the book, hopefully you've read that, I tell the story of when I asked, how do I get promoted? And my boss said to me and everybody else in the room, you make yourself expendable. And if you think about it, that's true. If the company needs you in your current role, they can't promote you on to the next role. Well, I've really run with that concept even more over the past few years, and this year in particular, as people are embracing the ideas from this book as the book has come out. And more leaders are getting on board with building a talent inventory for their own role. And some of them joke and they say, well, if I get hit by a bus, there'll be somebody to fill it. But what they also know is that if they do this, they can get other people to do this as well, because they're leading by example. So that's what we're doing in a number of organizations, is the leader builds a talent inventory for their own role, just keeps a couple people in the pipeline, that may be some internal people as well, and asks the employees to do the same, and explains it and puts it in the light of, we want to promote people, we have a culture of a rising tide of talent, and the way we do that is we make sure that you're ready to be promoted by having somebody else who can step in. Now, is there a benefit that if somebody starts doing, shoddy work or whatever, there's somebody to replace them? Yes, but here's the other part about this, is when you have people who can replace you, you tend to stay pretty darn accountable and do good work, and that's the other benefit we're seeing from this. So I encourage you that as part of your talent inventory, your personal talent inventory, you have one for you, so you're always promotable. Now, how do you fill this and your other talent inventories? Well, let's take another concept from the book, the chapter on keeping it flowing, single tasking. It helps counter one of the failure factors, all that multitasking we do. So in one of the organizations I work with right now, I'll use them as the example. They have single tasking sessions twice a week regarding their talent inventories. Everybody in departments, and they do this at different times, so it's not all overlapping and people aren't unavailable all at the same time. They have sessions, 30, 45-minute sessions, depending on the department, where all they do is work on stocking up that talent inventory. They do the steps of the Talent Accelerator process. It may be cultivating talent through referrals. It may be conducting an experiential interview. It may be something else. But it's a single tasking where they're all doing it at the same time. They're all in it together. They put their phones on Do Not Disturb and they work on this. It's a collaboration as a team. And what's beneficial about this is nobody's in it alone. They actually can share, ideas with one another before or after. And because of this single tasking, this single focus, this kind of highlighting, these companies are building powerful talent inventories that they're then maintaining over long periods of time, because time is being set aside where they're not distracted by other things, and they keep those talent inventories always full, including for their own role. So I invite you to do this as well. And what I mean by do this as well is notice how I continue to take the Talent Accelerator process and craft new and different ways, or I expand on existing ideas, and I invite you to do the same. I hope you'll do that. Feel free to share them with me. You can use your contact form, or if you don't, that's fine. Use them in your organization. As you can see, this is a rich process that will continue to feed your organization and allows for a lot of creativity. And be sure to come back to this page, because as I'm going to add more of these ideas as well over time, so you can keep getting the most out of the Talent Accelerator process.